La Viña, arts and entertainment reporter with the San Jose Mercury News. Australian actor Heath Ledger began his career in the United States as a young heartthrob destined for superstardom. But after earning a 2006 Oscar nomination for playing a ranch hand who falls in love with another man in Brokeback Mountain, he's been cast to play the Joker in The Dark Knight, the Batman Begins sequel that starts shooting in March. Ledger also has made a conscious choice in picking some commercially risky roles, such as the poet and heroin addict Dan in the film Candy. Ledger spoke to me by phone from a New York hotel room about the varied parts he has chosen to play, and how a scene from the new movie Candy was especially difficult because it was shot shortly after he learned he would become a father.
There's this incredibly arduous birth scene in the movie that I just learned was filmed only 4 weeks after you and Michelle Williams learned that you were going to have your daughter Matilda. How did you ever get through that scene?
I just kept running back and calling Michelle, and it was horrible, actually. I feared that I was jinxing our own birth, and it was not an easy day to get through, kind of thing. But I guess all of that kind of manifests through to the performances, where I've just been freaked out to be holding this little prosthetic, bloody, dead baby in my hands. So it was it was just surreal. It was really unpleasant, to say the least.
Did Neil discuss with you his artistic choices for actually having the baby in the scene that you could look at? I was kind of wondering about that because I thought, movies are more graphic than that, but still, that's pretty powerful to have a dead child in your arms in a movie for an extended period like that.
Yeah, it was a little. He did discuss it, but I guess I never quite, understood the full weight of that choice, and I think he probably discussed it before I knew that we were having a baby too. Probably a little more flippant about doing scenes to that magnitude, and so yeah, it was just a different thing once I had it in my hands. It was fucking freaky.
Yeah, it looked freaky. It looked real freaky. Since we're talking about you being a dad, how is becoming a father? And I guess she just had her first birthday just a week ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's just the most brilliant little person, and so full of life, and so smart, and so happy, and she's just a darling. I just love her so much, and it's wonderful.
Has becoming a father actually changed your approach to work in any way at all?
Well, it must, because it changes the person you are, and change as a person simultaneously kind of just changes your performance too. Like any growth in your personal life is, you can't help it. Like it comes to fruition through your work. It just does. It reflects, and so I guess it does. I'm not sure. I'd say it influences my understanding of people and performance more than it would influence like my choices. I'm not in a hurry to run out and do a animated, a voice in an animated film, but not putting it out either.
But when she's walking around and talking and watching Lion King ad nauseum, and she wants you to be in a movie, that might change, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
It's such a cliche, but judging from your movies, you make a conscious choice, it seems, around, you made a conscious choice around the time of A Knight's Tale that you would not become this commodity, that you were going to go more for these challenging roles that might potentially alienate audiences and not make studios all that happy. I'm wondering, has that made you or your management team pause in any way?
I think it was just more or less the time that I decided to take my career into my own hands. I felt like it was a little out of my control, and yeah, of course. I'm happy that I made that choice. I feel less like a product and more like someone who is kind of devoted to telling stories about all walks of life, and I learn more about myself and life this way than I would have possibly on the alternate path.
But you seem really drawn towards characters who are generally outsiders. I mean, Dan's a great example, but you can talk about Ennis from Brokeback Mountain. You can talk about, I mean, back in '96 when you did Sweat, you picked the role of the gay cyclist over the swimmer because you thought, is this correct, by the way?
I didn't have a choice.
Oh, okay. It was presented as though you made the choice, but I mean, do you gravitate towards the roles of the outsiders more so, you think, and if so, why?
I don't know whether I do gravitate toward those. I don't know. Perhaps I do. I'm not sure if I do, and if I do, I don't know why.
Well, it could be argued you gravitate towards iconic characters, too, because you played Casanova, and you're going to do a version of Dylan coming up, and you're doing the Joker, too, so we can interpret that in all sorts of ways, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
So then let me ask you this. What do you look for in a role? Because this is a real wide range of stuff you're playing here.
I'm not sure. I've never really been one to figure, okay, now I want to play a junk. I more or less just, let the script land on my lap and then assess to whether or not I can play it. And if I feel like it's something too close to what I've done before, then I kind of feel like there's no point to it, and that I'm wasting my time. And time is the essence, It's like, it is the most valuable thing in this life, and so it really has to be worth it these days. And so that, just a challenge, I guess, is always handy for it to kind of push me a little bit.
You make it sound like it's become easier to say no to offers.
Well, it's what you don't do, not what you do in this industry.